A Utah woman accused of murdering her husband headed to trial today. What jurors could hear this morning in the highly publicized case. Plus, a man missing in the mountains this morning from an avalanche in Big Cottonwood Canyon. The dangerous conditions forcing rescue teams to pause their search without finding him. And once again, the Tabernacle Choir taking on South America. In a story you'll only see here on KSL, we preview the World Tour stop in Brazil.
Live and streaming, this is KSL News Now.
Of course, this and a lot more coming up here for you. Thanks for joining us on KSL News Now. I'm Brian Carlson. Before we get to those stories here in just a second, we've got Devin Mashuli in for Matt Johnson here this morning. And what's weird to say is that this is a day with no Olympics.
No Olympics, I know. I'm kind of sad that it's over.
I know.
Because it was like pretty epic.
Right, especially
multiple
ending
moments.
the way it did.
Yes, it did. I'm glad we ended on top. And in terms of the weather, it's going to be a really nice work week. So we have that going for us as well. Temperatures to start this morning, 32 degrees in Kearns, 34 degrees at the Salt Lake Airport, 36 in Bountiful, and 39 degrees in Bluffdale. I know other areas like southern Utah are also in the mid-30s, like St. George. 27 degrees in Moab, then 13 degrees in Logan. We have thin, high-level clouds out there right now that will kind of slowly spread south as the day goes on, and it may thicken up a little bit across northern Utah, so we'll call it partly cloudy by the afternoon. Highs today in Salt Lake will be in the mid-50s, so a touch warmer compared to yesterday. 57 the high in Cedar City, and then 67 degrees in St. George. We'll be quiet all the way through tomorrow morning, and then our next storm system is going to move in by tomorrow afternoon. Again, it's a mild pattern here for the rest of the work week, so we're tracking valley rain and mountain snow. We'll provide a little bit more information on that coming up in a bit.
Sounds good. Thank you much, Devin. Take a look at your opening statement set to begin this morning in one of Utah's most closely watched murder trials. Kouri Richins, the Summit County mother accused of poisoning her husband and then writing a children's book on grief, is about to face a jury. News specialist Tyrese Boone live in Summit County ahead of today's proceedings. Good morning, Tyrese.
Good morning, Brian. Now, those opening arguments are expected to begin in just a few hours, and this case has been over 3 years in the making, and it could possibly last about a month or even more. Now, let's talk about it. Kouri Richins is charged with aggravated murder, attempted murder, insurance fraud, and forgery in connection to the death of her husband, Eric Richins. Prosecutors allege Eric died from a fentanyl overdose in March 2022. Investigators believe Richins poisoned him that night and attempted to do so 1 month earlier. Jury selection wrapped up in just less than 2 days, and before her arrest, Richins wrote a promoted children's book about grieving, centered on helping her children cope with the loss of a parent. Investigators also allege she took out roughly $2 million in life insurance policies on her husband without his knowledge. Richins has pleaded not guilty.
What I really didn't do is murder my husband. I could not and would not ever do that to Eric, or anyone for that matter.
Now, ahead of trial, her attorneys released a statement saying, in part, what the public has been told bears little resemblance to the truth. Kouri is a mother who wants to go home to her children, and we are confident this jury will make that possible. Her legal team previously asked to move the trial out of Summit County, arguing extensive media coverage could impact jurors, but that request was denied. And we'll continue to keep you guys updated on that case as things transpire here on KSL and our website on KSL.com. Live in Summit County, Tyrese Boone, KSL 5 News. Back to you, Brian.
All right, thank you, Tyrese. Definitely watching that trial closely. In other news this morning, investigators say a deadly crash on I-80 near the Great Salt Lake was caused by a driver going the wrong way on the freeway. This happened Saturday afternoon in the eastbound lanes there on the outskirts of Tooele. According to the Utah Highway Patrol, the suspected driver was in a Chevy Malibu and crashed head-on with a pickup truck, which then was hit from behind by another car. The driver of the Malibu, who hasn't been identified, died at the scene. We're told everyone else involved in the crash was taken to the hospital in critical condition. So far, we don't have an exact number of victims. And authorities have discovered the body of a missing man from Grand County. According to the sheriff's office, Jason Patman was located in a remote area of the LaSalle Mountains. Investigators believe he died in some sort of car crash. They don't think there was any foul play. Patman had been missing for nearly 2 weeks. And this morning, a West Jordan man looking for help finding the person responsible for stealing his truck, packed full of outdoor gear, just right out of his driveway. Patrick Peters says his neighbors caught the theft there on camera, showing them driving away inside the truck with Peters and his wife chasing after them. So this happened near 78 South and 37th West. Peter says they're just about to leave with the truck all packed when the thief hopped inside and took off. And there they is, the owner's running after him. West Jordan police confirmed the truck was stolen while unlocked and idling. All police know is the suspect was a man wearing all black. And then right now, a man is missing from an avalanche in Big Cottonwood Canyon. Wasatch County Sheriff's Office says a man on a snowmobile reportedly buried in the avalanche Sunday afternoon. Emergency crews responded, but the large avalanche and unstable snow prevented rescuers from remaining in the area. The search was suspended for the night. Avalanche control explosives are expected to secure the area before the search continues this morning. The sheriff's office is warning everyone, stay away from the Snake Creek area where it happened. Then another avalanche in Big Cottonwood Canyon has sent 2 backcountry skiers to the hospital, one in critical condition. This follows a deadly slide in the canyon on Thursday that killed an 11-year-old girl. The Utah Avalanche Center says heading out in the backcountry right now can be a death sentence.
Any avalanche that we trigger is going to break deep, it's going to break wide, it's going to be dangerous and quite possibly unsurvivable.
Now, the Avalanche Center says with the sunny weather, the new powdery snow piled on the dense, heavy snow, it's a dangerous combination. Right now, the entire state is under either considerable or high avalanche danger warnings. Now, in response to these devastating avalanches, the Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson posted this statement saying, in part, I extend my deepest condolences to the families and the loved ones affected, and I'm holding those injured in my thoughts. I'm grateful to our first responders and the Salt Lake County Sheriff's and search and rescue teams for their swift and courageous efforts. So let's take a look at our weather out there this morning. I know the avalanche danger was a big concern over the weekend. What about this morning here, Devin?
Likely still elevated as well, especially because temperatures are only getting milder as we head through the rest of this work week. It was a beautiful weekend. This is a sunset photo from Lehigh, from Shanna. Thank you for sending this in. It was beautiful to see the fresh coating of snow across literally all of our mountains here in Utah. Our snowpack in every single basin just about by the end of last week had jumped nearly 10%. Now, the main area that had the biggest jump, over 30%, was in the southwestern basin. And we know areas like Bryan Head had over 50 inches of snow from last week's series of storms. Now, and through the weekend, we had high pressure overhead, and it's still here across the Four Corners region. It will begin to break down thanks to these 2 storm systems that you see out west. They're going to quickly arrive already by tomorrow afternoon and will bring us our next chance of precipitation, mainly across northern Utah. You can see St. George is going to stay mild here with temperatures in the low to mid 70s by the end of the 7-day. And then you can see for the 7-day for Wasatch Front, we have some active weather Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll kind of time this storm out coming up in a bit.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you much, Devin. And then your international headlines this morning, violence has erupted in several Mexican states after the Mexican army killed the leader of one of the country's most powerful cartels. The leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel was killed by the Mexican army during an operation to capture him. He was known as one of the world's most wanted traffickers, smuggling huge quantities of fentanyl and other drugs into the U.S. His death set off several hours of unrest, with cars and businesses being set on fire, roads being blocked, and multiple clashes with authorities. The U.S. State Department issued a travel advisory urging U.S. citizens there in multiple Mexican states to shelter in place and urging Americans to reconsider travel to that area. Other tourists were stranded after several U.S. carriers suspended flights to Puerto Vallarta. Overnight, the unrest has quieted, but curfew remains in place with schools and stores expected to remain closed through today. In California, Nick Reiner expected to be in court for the killing of his parents, famed director Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle Singer Reiner. Nick Reiner facing 2 counts of first-degree murder and has been held without bail since his parents' deaths in December. The L.A. County Medical Examiner says the 2 died from multiple stab wounds. Authorities haven't said anything about possible motives, and prosecutors say they haven't decided if they'll seek the death penalty. Reiner expected to enter a not guilty plea. And then in Arizona, a group of movers being hailed as heroes for saving a kidnapped girl. The president of Camelback Moving says the security guard at this gas station recognized the missing toddler and the suspect from an Amber Alert, then reached out to the movers for help identifying their car.
Yeah?
The Amber Alert that went out yesterday?
Never? Yesterday? That one.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Should I block the truck?
Huh?
Should I block them?
Should block.
Now, as the security guard called 911, the movers blocked the suspect's car with their truck to keep them from leaving, moving away minutes later to let the police in and arrest the suspect and find the toddler. Glad they did what they did. Turning now to our nation's capital, where President Donald Trump now doubling down on raising the global tariffs to 15%. And that's up from the 10% he imposed just on Saturday. The back-to-back tariff announcements came after the Supreme Court ruled Friday that the sweeping tariffs issued under an emergency provision are not legal. The High Court's ruling only applies to the duties the president imposed during one specific law. And the president immediately responded by saying he will now rely on other legal authorities to help keep his tariffs in place. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the High Court didn't address refunds, but tossed it back to the lower courts, which could still take months to issue a ruling. This morning, President Trump is vowing to save the Great Salt Lake. In a post to social media over the weekend, the president called the situation an environmental hazard that must be worked on immediately. He says he will work with Utah's Governor Spencer Cox to find a solution. Now, it's something President Trump actually spoke about as well during a White House dinner with the National Governors Association. Didn't offer any specifics on a plan to replenish the lake, but did double down on his pledge to work, quote, really hard to save it. And Governor Cox was there in attendance. Right now, more than 40 million people are under blizzard warnings this morning as a nor'easter slams the East Coast, including here, where you'll see new images just coming out of New York City. Several states have declared a state of emergency and issued travel bans. State leaders say this storm unprecedented.
New York City has not faced a storm of this scale in the last decade.
The entire state of New Jersey, all 21 counties, is under a blizzard warning for the first time in 30 years.
Now, the bomb cyclone that they're talking about could produce wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. People facing widespread power outages, flooding, and snowfall totals that could top 30 inches. That weather also impacting flights across the country. FlightAware says so far today, over 5,300 flights canceled and 850 flights have been delayed. That again shows you the power of what the weather can do there, Devin.
Yeah, absolutely. And unfortunately, I know all the people in the Midwest and the eastern United States are tired of all of the snow. And meanwhile, here, we would love more of it. You can see on satellite and radar this storm system still rotating between Boston, New York, and Philadelphia, Jersey, and Delaware. I know back at home where I'm from, Philadelphia, there's already a foot of snow on the ground in spots. We are quiet to start this Monday. We have thin, high-level clouds kind of passing across the northern half of the state. So it is a mostly sunny start this morning. And you can kind of barely see those clouds. They are so thin in the higher levels of the atmosphere. Now, across northern Utah, they might thicken up a bit as the day goes on, and then we'll see some of those high clouds stream into southern Utah. Right now, we're at 34 degrees in Salt Lake, 13 degrees in Logan, 24 degrees in Cedar City, as well as Moab, and the mid-30s for St. George. By lunchtime today, we'll be right around 50 degrees, but still sunny skies. And then by the afternoon, we'll see some thicker clouds, but we'll be in the mid-50s and expecting plenty of sun and quiet weather for today. Now, like I mentioned before, we have a storm system that's going to move through tomorrow as well as into Wednesday. It looks like it'll come through as early as tomorrow afternoon, and our pattern is still so mild, and it's going to stay mild through the end of the work week. So this will be a valley rain and mountain snowstorm. You can see by the afternoon or the late or early evening, well, valley rain showers developing, mountain snow showers, and pretty high elevation, say at 8,000 feet. By Wednesday morning, we'll begin to get some cooler air, and we'll see the snow levels drop just a little bit. And you can see it'll spread into central Utah as well with some of that precipitation, but it does not get into southern Utah. All this will be said and done by tomorrow evening. And in terms of our accumulations right now, we're going with about 4 to 8 inches across our northern mountains. Again, really in the highest elevations, 5 to 10 inches for the Cottonwoods and the western Uintas. For the Wasatch Front, looks like a pretty good storm here. I mean, about 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain, and the best chances for that higher end will be areas north of Salt Lake City. And then as you get into central Utah, it will be generally less than 1/10 of an inch. So for central Utah today, just quiet, sunny, temperatures in the mid-50s in Nephi, Delta, Manti, close to 50 degrees in Price. Southern Utah, high of 57 in Beaver. Heber, Cedar City, 67 in St. George, low 50s in Moab and Hanksville with sunshine. St. George, 67 the next couple of days. Then the rest of the 7-day forecast is spent in the red numbers. That means more than 10 degrees warmer than normal in the low to mid 70s with mostly sunny, partly cloudy skies. Northern Utah today, upper 40s in Logan, mid 40s in Heber City, near 50 in Roosevelt, as well as Tremont. For the Wasatch Front, we'll be in the low to mid 50s today, so just a touch warmer compared to yesterday. We'll be in the mid 50s the next several days. Again, we have rain developing tomorrow afternoon, continuing through Wednesday. Then we dry out for the end of the work week, and we just continue to warm back up near 60 degrees Friday and Saturday, and then possibly tracking another storm Saturday into Sunday.
We're back on that warm train. Thank you much there, Devin. The Tabernacle Choir Temple Square is now well on their way to the 6th stop on their world tour in Sao Paulo, Brazil. News specialist Dan Rascone capturing the tour already in Brazil with a preview. He shows us how big of an undertaking this can be.
Yes, a huge undertaking. We're talking about hundreds of choir and orchestra members, plus you have the support staff and the production crews, all coming to this city with nearly 12 million people and more than 23 million in the metro area alone. So everyone very excited about the choir's visit.
Brazil is a really fun country and it's a beautiful place.
A place known for its vibrant culture and colorful landscape.
Qual é seu nome? Leandro. Tudo bom, Leandro? Como está?
Prazer, Leandro. Brazil is also a country growing rapidly for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with about 1.5 million members. Right now, there are 37 missions in the country. Elder Cox is from Payson, Utah.
The people of Brazil have a really good heart. They really love others and they take other people into their homes and they share the gospel of Jesus Christ.
Sao Paulo is where the church built its very first temple in South America back in 1978. Today, there are 24 operating, under construction, or announced temples in Brazil. And now this week, the Tabernacle Choir is coming to town. Choir will hold 4 concerts. Choir members,
Brazilians are big fans of the choir.
Alvaro Martins,
Dreams can come true.
and Alan Silva, who are both from Brazil, couldn't be more excited to be coming to their home country to perform.
Brazilians are such musical people. They love to express themselves with music, with dance.
Singing our language, it's showing that God loves them. They are important for the church.
Sao Paulo is the 6th stop of the choir's Songs of Hope World Tour. The last time the choir came to Sao Paulo was 45 years ago in 1981.
This will be historic.
Gary Porter, who is in the choir's presidency, says they can't wait to arrive.
We are focusing on a message of hope, on faith in the Lord Jesus Christ.
The choir will leave early tomorrow morning and then arrive late Monday night. Their first concert will be on Wednesday night. Then the other concerts on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they'll be very busy. We'll be here to cover it all. I'm Dan Rascone for KSL 5 News in Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Look ahead. Thank you much there, Dan. You know, it definitely feels like, Devin, when you're looking at what he's got down there in Brazil, we're getting a little taste of that kind of nice tropical weather up here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just going to be mild all week long, and especially in southern Utah with highs more than 10 degrees warmer than normal for majority of the 7-day forecast. We right now are at 34 degrees here in Salt Lake. It's 13 degrees in Logan, 24 in Cedar City, in the mid-30s in St. George. Thin high-level clouds across the northern half of the state. That'll kind of thicken up just a little bit as the day goes on. Still keeping mostly sunny skies for St. George, highs in the mid-60s the next 2 days. And then this is where you can see the mild air, low to mid-70s for the remainder of the 7-day forecast with mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies. Cache Valley is just going to be in the upper 40s near 50. Certainly a cold start with their temperatures in the teens this morning. You can see it gets much better by tomorrow morning with highs or lows in the upper 20s. Mid to upper 40s Tuesday, Wednesday as some wet weather rolls through. Showers tapering off early on Wednesday, and then after that drying out as temperatures stay around 54 by the weekend. Speaking of 54, that's exactly where we're expecting Stansbury Peak to be, just generally in the mid-50s across Tooele County with partly cloudy skies by the afternoon. 54 Tuesday, 52 on Wednesday, and then after that warming up close to 60 by the end of the work week. For Salt Lake, more of the same, highs in the mid to upper 50s here, mostly sunny to start, partly cloudy later. Mid-50s Tuesday, Wednesday, then 54 on Thursday, drier by the end of the work week, and you can see we approach the 60-degree mark. That's more than 10 degrees warmer than normal Friday and Saturday, and then perhaps tracking another storm on Sunday.
Yeah, it's definitely not winter out there. Thank you much there, Devin. Finally, a story this morning that will help you smile. One couple looking to make a difference for communities across the country, all in honor of their 40th wedding anniversary. Robert and Bliss Sawyer are raising money for Habitat for Humanity and Tabitha's Way Food Pantry with a cross-country bike ride. So they'll pedal from coast to coast, which is about 4,000 miles total. They plan on starting in Bellingham, Washington, where their love began, and they hope to raise $100,000 throughout the duration of their trip. They're preparing for that trip right now, and their ride starts on June 20th. Love to see that. 40 years, that's great. Thanks for joining us here on this segment of KSL News Now. We'll leave you with a live look at Salt Lake City, waking up on this work week. Early Monday morning, the sun just popping up behind the mountains and, of course, downtown Salt Lake. Wispy clouds out there to start our day, but no major issues that you just heard Devin talk about with our weather. Same with our traffic this morning. Hope you have a beautiful day ahead. We'll see you tomorrow.